the dog just got a breakfast treat. It looked like a starling, which is not really a bird we want. And there's the pig. She's hungry.
Here she is. Come on, lady. Oh, we gotta go back in the shade now. That's a much better place to be.
Oh, flat area.
Nerps. Breakfast.
That's a couple of old rolls and some of the scraps from our broccoli last night. Some sprouted grain and some water that smells like feet.
It does. It smells terrible right
She
now.
loves it.
Mmm, feet water. Yum.
It's probiotic, so it's almost like...
It's fermented.
Yeah. It's their own kombucha.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then the ladies come in and get the excess, whatever's left.
Right on the poop end there.
Oh yeah. Gotta get some poop in.
Alan gives her this amazing bog every morning. So she's got stuff to do. And
melon. Everybody singing? Where's everybody? We got some birds eating melon and some eating pig food.
all right, I'm going to show them some of the
Got a Mallory in here.
some of the crops. Oh, the duck.
There's somebody about to drop an egg. It looks like. Hi, Miss Mallory. What's doing? She spends most of her day in here, chilling,
She's nesting.
hanging out with the broody chicken behind her. Somebody's about to drop an egg.
That's what a bird looks like when it's about to lay an egg. Man, we're all in their business. So, we lost 3 cherry trees this year. We don't know why. Some of them were up to 4 years old and pretty big. And so, we got these bare root apple replacements, which are growing. They're quite thick for bare roots. We also have the largest Hopi corn we've ever had. This is Painted Mountain, and it is over 100. I think we did 120 pieces, and you could see it earing out like never before right here. This one has 2 ears, and the pollen, I'm shaking it. It's heavily pollen rich. So,
Oh wow, look at that.
you see the yellow dust.
Yeah, the purple too.
Yeah, so we got a bunch of different varieties. You can tell by the tassel tops here by the color of the ears. So that's kind of nice.
This is exciting.
We got lots of Hopi corn. First time ever. And this is because we planted this 3 months earlier than you're supposed to. And somehow it worked on this hoop house. This is the largest. Stand next to that Egyptian walking onion. This thing is 4 feet high. Biggest one we've ever grown. And they're prolific. We started with 1 and now we have thousands. They're everywhere.
Look
So,
at the way this curled down.
yep, so when they get ripe now, the tops fall to the ground here. And then this is how they walk. This will just root here.
It's a whole new plant. You can see it just like that.
And then that's that. And you have unlimited onions. Here's another walker over here. And you could just dig into the ground and bury them a little. Or you could break this up and make 3 plants, give them to your neighbors. This is literally a plant that could save a whole community because there's so much to share. One of these makes a bunch and there's dozens of them. Let me just look at that. Wow, look at that little anomaly there. That's cool.
Looks like a seashell.
This is a native to all southwestern PA called Gaillardia. And it just grows in the desert
Hi, Frankie.
in environments where there's no water.
Watch out, Frankie's behind you. Meow.
That's the best cat ever.
Yeah. Meow. This is a formerly feral cat who's totally social now. In part due to Gremlin.
Yeah.
Thanks to Gremlin. Gremlin reduced the intimidation factor.
Plus, we don't kick our cat.
No.
Bees up there, doing fine. We got some medicine out in the open. Look at the size of this columbine. Want to stand on that side?
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge 5 or 6 foot tall
Enormous.
orac. A columbine is looking glorious.
It should be. It almost looks like it should be done by now, but it's not.
Yeah, this is a real late one.
Yeah.
Interesting, because all the columbines are dead and now it's like mid-July.
Yeah.
We've got pear trees, and that's a Nanking cherry. This is a plum. This is a rudbeckia right there, Ignatia, about to pop. This is a borage we planted, grew from seed. And this is the first year we're having this is mountain blueberry. It's serviceberry. It looks just like a blueberry, doesn't it? And this is the first year we've had a serviceberry harvest. And there's probably a couple pints on here. And the rest of our serviceberries also produce berries. So I'm going to taste that one. Mmm.
Good already? They don't look ripe.
No, just get a dark red one. That one was good. It was just red.
It's not ripe.
It's supposed to be purple. It's got a little rust or something, so we're going to look into what that is. Mm-hmm. Look at that. What is that? First time I'm really seeing this. Look at that. So there's that, and then there's that. This is a variety of cannabis that's pretty popular. It's called Frisian duck because you can grow it in your garden and no one knows what it is. Do you see how the leaves are atypical? They don't look like cannabis at all. They're in fact fused together into this interesting pattern. So that's interesting. It's also the disease that we have on this tree that's now 3 years old. Kind of stunts the leaf growth. This is a plum, but it looks like it's getting better. So that's good. Another small serviceberry down here, and then some amazing black garnet amaranth. These are volunteers from last year that I seed out in the fall. So I just dump seed in certain places in the fall.
These little cucumbers down here are doing good.
Here's a cucumber, a bush cucumber. This is some really nice cilantro. We're going to see a lot of cilantro if you stay with us. And this is Three Sisters in here. We've got runner beans growing up the corn. And so that's nice. And you can see all the beans just popping up, but they're pretty shaded out. Here's another runner. And then we've got squash that'll leaf out here and keep the moisture in the soil. That's the whole objective of Three Sisters. And again, you can see another ear of that Hopi corn forming. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Nice. We just seeded cut flowers here so we can have flowers at the end of the summer, which won't be a bummer.
Oh.
Okay. It's a 2-year-old apple. Some more of those Egyptian walking onions that I planted this spring. Ding ding. This is a raspberry area. And we've got some various greens in here. We're going to be seed saving this variety of arugula because it's delicious, heirloom from Italy. And other lettuces in here, obviously. Sounds delicious. This is a spinach area which has now gone to seed, which is good because we're going to have enough seed to do a whole spinach farm. We sold some of our spinach in the market this year in Pagosa, and some of that came from this bed. We also have the purple mountain spinach, some squashes coming up, some cilantro, and here one of our weeds is highly edible and delicious right here. Look at that. It's a succulent, very high in vitamin A, C, and E. And this weed just grows everywhere. In fact, Geezer sent me some seeds. Some giant red mustards going to seed. And these self-seed every year and just come up here. So we use these in our integrated pest management. As you can see, the bugs like mustard. So they come to the mustard and they stay off the cilantro and the spinach. Really one of our biggest apple trees right there. No apples this year because they all froze. We had a late June freeze again.
Looks really healthy though.
That's our nicest pear.
This new tree is We're doing well.
That's one of our bare root apples where there was a dead cherry there, and that looks like it's leafing the best.
Yeah, looks really good.
In this gilled bed, we got the fastest growing tree in this area. This is a Lombardy poplar, and it's surrounded by pollinator attractant lilacs. And we have a nitrogen fixer honey locust back there, another honey locust here, right next to this apple. Oh, we're about to eat strawberries live.
Yeah.
This is our first hollyhock that ever bloomed. It's been 3 years I've been trying to grow these. And there we have our first hollyhock.
Ooh, look at how this bloomed.
And here's a
Chicks
blooming
and hens.
sempervivin, which are hens and chicks.
Nice. Well, this one's already gone to seed.
Oh, that's from a different weed.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh, it
That's
is.
from this flower.
Yeah, that makes sense. This,
But this is a rare thing. Look, we're in the high mountain desert, and no one probably knows what we're looking at here. These are chickpeas. These grow in the equator, and somehow they're growing here. And they've produced chickpeas. Do you see the female plant over here?
Yeah.
Now, if you know anything about chickpeas, this has got to be the most difficult plant to harvest. That each of these pods has, guess how many?
10?
One.
One.
So a plant gives you like 50 chickpeas. So to make hummus, you would need acres of this. That's crazy.
That's completely crazy. It's really hard.
And it's dried.
Yeah, it's totally dry.
So that's a chickpea. Very bizarre. Chickpea and pagosa. Oh!
Salsify.
So if you want to grow strawberries successfully, don't grow them on a hill. Always put them in a valley, in a wet, moist hole, or under a tree. Because I've grown them everywhere and they don't work anywhere, but in a valley under a tree where there's some kind of shade element. This is a whole row of cilantro, volunteer from last year. Watch, there's cactus in there.
There's, this had a couple strawberries on there.
That upper patch?
Yep. They're dried up now, but...
Whole cilantro area, and you can see now going to seed, which is coriander seed here. So you get the cilantro during the green phase, the coriander seed at the flowering phase, and then the flowers can go on your salads or just be eaten. And that's amazing. Oh, and they're fragrant as heck. We got this nice Nanking cherry here, which produced one cherry. Does that freeze? Buffalo berry. Here is a currant bush filled with berries. Now these native currants are less than desirable for eating because they're so tiny and it would take forever to harvest them. But if you're starving, like Marvin, you got that. Purple pestimone. Amazing snap pea here. You're just coming like bonkers. And they're juicy and not dry because we have Alan watering them. Look at that one.
Thank you.
Squashes are coming in nice. Our garlic harvest will show you. That's not ready. That's a weird looking Macintosh apple.
Yep.
Here's a nitrogen fixer, a pea tree called Carragina. And more hollyhocks. And a squash field there, which looks like a little amaranth in the middle. Big catnip. This is our successful strawberry bed. And you can see there's a nice little berry. And these berries are tiny, but even when they're not ripe, taste it.
That is totally ripe, and the flavor is fabulous.
It's like better than any strawberry you'll ever eat.
So good. Well, the big strawberries, they're bred to be big, and so the flavor is completely diluted. Commercial strawberries. That's why these are so good.
Oh.
There's a bunch. You want a super ripe one? Because the flavor is amazing.
So yeah, there's that. Another apple. This is a currant that keeps dying back to the ground. We don't understand why. We'll take a quick tour of this bed and then go out to the main orchard. This is a cinquefoil, which is native to high alpine areas. It has a common name, but it's escaping me.
Potentia.
Potentia, yes. You can buy them at Walmart.
Potentia. They're gorgeous.
That's a plum tree with that weird thing going on the end of the leaves. So much to learn. Another one of those columbines that's a little late.
Yeah.
This is the oldest living tree on the planet. Shouldn't grow here, but we got 8 of them growing quite nicely. And they're growing very rapidly. It's the bristle cone pine. And there you have it. Another carragina. Salvia. 2 types of spruce. We're going to be thinning these and moving around the property. And I just harvested that giant head of lettuce that I wanted to film over here. Oh well. We got some.
Here too.
Yeah, we have to move that in the spring.
Yeah.
So these are basically tree nurseries. Keeping trees close together in this environment helps with moisture and wind.
And excessive sun.
Yeah, because we get so much sun. It's like freezing at night and then 100 during the day. That is difficult. So interesting note here, this raised bed we planted early in the season, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Nothing grew, a couple carrots. So we left a few, maybe 20 carrots here, and put in purple potatoes. So that's a good recovery. This currant has taken a while to ripen, but it literally has pounds of
loaded
berries
with berries
on it.
The trick with berries around here is getting the timing right when you harvest them, because a lot of the time
The birds get 'em?
Birds get 'em. I had this problem at the house. There's a beautiful orange currant. Very hard to get that when it's ripe, and the birds haven't gotten to them yet.
These berries are all gone, and this was ripe last week.
There's a bunch of currants by the parking spot too. That big bush over there.
That's a bee balm. About to flower. This is an endive. Some people say endive, but very bitter lettuce. It does excellent here. I mean, look at how oily it looks, and this looks excellent. These bronze mignette are just gorgeous, and they just do great here. We got some more lettuces over there like that.
I'm just gonna start choking stuff out.
Huge area of chocolate mint. Warning, mint.
Mint will grow like bonkers anywhere.
This is our first asparagus that ever came up. I planted it from seed 3 years ago, and now it's coming up. So maybe next year we'll have 1 or 2 spears sticking out of the ground there that look succulent. All right, let's do some other beds. Beets are ready. I harvested some for dinner. So we have all this beet to harvest. It can grow for another month and they just get bigger. Currently the beets are, I don't know, 2 inches. I have some inside. I don't want to pull one because, well, let's just put a little one here. Yep, boom, that's a mini one. Well, I don't know what variety that is. You want to carry those?
Yep.
And so here, this is a radish seeding. If you never saw a radish seed, it's in these weird pods right there. And there's usually about 8 to 12 per pod.
These are the choga beets.
Choiga?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to be candy striped inside.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I looked at the stems.
More lettuces and some beetroot that, if you look at, looks remarkably like chard.
Yeah.
Because chard is a beetroot leaf crop that doesn't create a beet, in case you didn't know. And these are more of a traditional beet. And I believe those are Early Wonder Detroit Reds.
Detroit Reds.
Okay. All right, it's hotter than hell out here. There's a barrage. The squashes on these hills are just coming up and looking fantastic. There's actually a watermelon that looks good. So, and a couple of stray corns, more lettuce, onion bed, cilantro. Take a look at that. I wish we could eat all this food with us, but it's mostly going to go to seed and get bitter because we eat out of here every night. It's a nice amaranth, some more lettuces. That's a beauty.
Yes.
All right, let's look at the, what do we got over here? Wildflowers. Some more squashes coming up. Here's some runner beans I planted 2 weeks ago on this side. and I don't know what, those are mortgage lifters on the far side. So this is a good time to plant French climbing beans at the peak of the summer heat. And our potatoes in soil here, plus we have 4 other boxes. And here's our experimental Ruth Stout potato. They grow completely different.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre. So we planted the same amount of potatoes per volume, so we'll have a good gauge on which technique is better.
Yeah. It's the same time too, right?
Yep, same exact day. Yeah. We have the video. Watch, there's some squashes on here. Oh. Just planted this out with more squash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This will produce 50 pounds or more of summer squash, maybe 100. That hill, and we have several hills, so we're gonna have hundreds of pounds of summer squash. These are the beds that Alan and I did, and I don't see a single squash here. Winner!
One.
One up.
All this length and one. All squash, huh?
No, this is basil, half basil, and I don't remember. We'll see. That looks like grass.
It does, but I'm wondering. Not all of it looks like grass.
We put liner in there. So we have a lot of successes and a lot of failures. And this this bed is a failure. This year we also planted trees and bushes on every single fence post. And last year we did it, they all died. This year, 90% alive. This looks a little dry. It's wet in there. Maybe it's just planted too high. Yep. See that?
Yeah.
I gotta get some dirt in there. It should be buried up to there. And that's not cutting it. So this is a pretty sad bed.
Corn.
Hundreds of corns.
Not.
Very few came up. Tomato looks sick. Beans we planted down here all froze, or I don't know what happened. It's just a nightmare. Right? This tree looks a little dry. This was a dead giant apricot, but now it's coming out of the ground, so we'll see what that does.
Maybe it'll just be an apricot bush.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Another cherry. So we've been watering for the last 14 hours because it got so dry out here. So maybe that'll help. This is another dead apple, but it's coming up out of the ground here. Maybe that'll be an apple bush.
Can you hear all the bees? They're loving this clover.
Yeah.
I just hear bzzz. Lots and lots of there's insects everywhere, crickets and oh, it's amazing. Little moths.
And I explained to Alan to leave these yellow clover areas, don't mow them.
Yeah.
For this purpose, so.
Oh, here's bees.
Yeah, I just filmed one. That's the orange.
Okay.
The orange guy?
Spot?
Yeah.
Yep. There's another one, a little wild bee.
More snap peas here that are neglected. I find the most difficult part of harvesting snap peas is not breaking the vine. Because you want to rip it off.
I had that, oh, see, I just did it. I ripped the vine. I just had that problem with the fava this morning.
Nice looking honey locust. All right, let's go to the greenhouse. This video is like an hour long.
It's okay.
Here, just climb this side. So this is hundreds of dollars worth of bare roots, and a lot of them didn't make it. These been sitting here for months, and it looks like about 20%. None of the cherries. We got a lot of soil there. That's the bonus.
Graham, you think we're going to the river? Those are gorgeous. Oh, look how beautiful those are. Stunning.
And edible. So barrage is good for the green mulch and the eating of the flower.
Is this chicory?
It's in the chicory family.
Ooh, I was just looking at some chicory this morning.
Endive is in the chicory, so come down here. And this is a giant, oh actually this is coming out of an escadole, which is also in that family, chicory.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
It looks just like the weed on the side of the road right now everywhere in America. It's sticking up like that.
Great weed. Great coffee substitute.
It's also the #1 anti-parasitic for farm animals, so you can chop it up and feed it. You can deworm with it, root.
It does not have caffeine in it, but it is a good coffee substitute.
Yeah, you take the root and you roast the root, almost to burnt.
Yep.
We got our first tomatoes, our first maters in there, and we've got a couple heirlooms in here in the back. So we planted 4 or 5. There's a little pepper area that'll come in later. Ow!
Oh.
These are some weird shaped, weird cumbers. Here's another weird cumber.
They're totally weird.
And I think it has to do with the this fungus that we got on the leaves. So I treated for it, and it's next to a dead seeding celery, which has got some spider mites. So we got to get that out of here, because we want our green beans to be successful. These are Anasazi beans. We've already grown more beans than we planted. We planted 6 Anasazi beans, and here we already have 18 or 20.
It's a good bean year. Good bean and pea year.
Some nice hot peppers here. Our beets are all pretty much done. They all need to come out, so we're going to be harvesting them. Here's another cuke. A weird cumber. And we've had problems with those pill bugs. This is a peanut coming up there. We've had problems with the pill bugs, so I'm switched to perlite instead of the diatomaceous earth, because it's easy to work with. I don't need a mask, so to speak, and it seems to stay in put, and plus there's no pill bugs. They don't like the perlite, which I didn't read about, but I did it and it worked. Nice oak leaf lettuce.
There's some more tomatoes going in here.
Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3 tomatoes here, and there's one with a tomato.
That's what I'm saying, this one too. We'll spray these.
I don't know.
Right here.
Yeah. Oh, okay, nice. Maters. And that's the greenhouse. So, and this is our 3-year-old fig. Pretty lame. Look at the size of that Portuguese tree collard. That's going on 2 years old. And so we just keep hacking off the bases here. Look at that structure. And it just keeps growing off itself.
It really is a tree.
It's a tree.
I think we could probably just plant that outside and it would be fine.
It'll die if below 30.
Oh.
So that's the problem. If we picked a warmer zone to live in. And then we got a peppers.
No, we just picked the extremes where it gets really cold
Look
and really hot.
at that pepper.
Ooh.
Hello. All right. We're going kayaking. Anything you want to say before I shut the button?
Nope.
Have a great day. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for coming. Grow food. You learned so much. Oh, is that a grapevine?